Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm out here today because of COVID and other things. I'm out here today with editor Cameron. How are you, Cameron? Good. And I just wanted to showcase this barn quilt we've got. And we're out at the farm we call the feedlot farm. And I have the salesman coming this afternoon from WeCover, and we're going to kind of feature the WeCover building in this video so that everybody can understand what there is about it. But I just thought I would show this barn quilt off here. I've got a similar barn quilt on my barn at home, and I may get it in the tail end of this video. Anyway, we'll wait for our salesman to come. Yeah. Hey, Cam? Perfect. I'm here today with our WeCover salesman showed up here today, and I've got Brian Jackson here from WeCover. How are you, Brian?
Great day.
Anyway, this is a WeCover building we put up, what, 2 years ago?
Yep.
3 years ago? 2 or 3? This will be the third year. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Well, this building's 76 feet wide and 208 feet long. Each truss is 16 feet in between, and each piece of fabric is sectional so that it's individual from the eave all the way to the peak. If something would happen to a piece, you just replace that piece.
And we've covered it in plywood and stained the plywood with red barn stain. Anyway, we'll go inside where it's not quite so windy. It always seems like when I'm videoing, the wind's gotta blow. Oh, this is better. This is painted?
Yeah, this one's painted. The vast majority of them are hot dip galvanized, and we get that done in Cambridge. The plant that makes all these buildings is right here in Chatham, Kent at Thamesville. And I was thinking about it, and I think we actually have buildings in pretty much all of the provinces in Canada, and likely about a third of the states in the US. So this is a little story of a small company in Chatham, Kent that's kind of making it out around the world there, around North America.
They kind of run under the radar, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's mainly agricultural, although we are doing some commercial buildings now, some warehouses, and we're doing all steel commercial as well as fabric, which are typically used for cattle barns or storage barns, dairy barns, horse arenas, compost barns. Really, the uses are endless.
Feed buildings?
Yes, commodity buildings. They make a great commodity building. Everybody talks about the light and how bright it is. And yeah, it's great to have the light, but when you have livestock in here, the livestock actually take that light and convert it into more meat and milk. Because the more light an animal has, the more feed they'll consume and the more meat or milk they'll produce.
Yeah, here on our farm, we kind of use this for, I would say, multi-purpose. We have bale storage, we have machinery storage. Well, it wouldn't be a farm without junk storage, would it?
Junk storage,
gotta
yeah,
have
it's everywhere.
And one of the things with this barn, we have a pretty low pitch. This is a
312.
312.
Yeah, typically they would be 4 or 512. We have one that's a 12-12 pitch out in Chicago or north of Chicago, and it's for I think she's a chiropractor or something, and had to have this pitch building to match the house or the
Well-
stable that was on the property.
Well, I guess you would.
Well, if you got the money, we can take care of that.
Well, that's good. And we don't have any concrete in this end. This is just actually bee gravel and a little bit of crushed concrete. And we have concrete in the other end. We'll maybe take a walk down there. And when we do, we'll talk about the overhang when we get outside here. I put these piers in. We were going to close this end in, and I put piers in here to do that. And we've went a couple of years with no end in it, and I think I've changed my mind. I'm so happy with this big open end. We can run these big cultivators in here and tractors, and in the summertime we put our combine in here with the heads on. You can just drive right in, and when the building's long enough, you really don't need doors. Anyway, we have, tell us about the overhang, Brian.
Well, this overhang is 7 feet, I believe, and the main reason for it is for the cattle at the far end. But it really does a great job of winging the water and snow away from the side and providing some shade for the cattle end. It's a very popular thing to do with our buildings, and our style is probably one of the few that can do that because because we are on sectional fabric here.
One thing we've never done here in 2 years, we've never tightened a sheet.
No, and if it's built during relatively warm temperatures, you never will have to. A lot of other buildings you see ratchets and so on, but once these are rolled tight, that'll stay tight until you want to rip it out and put a new one in, which is probably 25 years on this building.
Let me see, 25 years from now I'll be, I don't know, I can get up there with my cane.
Maybe not. We're building one right now that's 1,098 feet long and 120 wide. That's one of the largest. That's over 3 acres of ground being covered with one building. And so we do a lot of very large beef barns and even some large shops for farmers mainly.
Well, once you pick your width, length is not an issue.
The longer the better. The more repetition, the cheaper the barn gets.
In this end, I've got some, what do you call these?
Hay burners?
Hay burners. Oh man, this is where the money is. All my money's in here, none of it's coming back.
This is one-way money.
This is money Trudeau will never see. Oh, I shouldn't talk that way about the beef business. It's my hobby. I'm gonna do a I just will show you a quick shot at these cattle. I'm going to do another video of these cattle later. It was too much to put the barn and the cattle in one video. So wouldn't you think, Brian?
Yeah, there's a lot goes into raising cattle properly, and you might as well give everybody the whole load.
The whole load? Anyway, you can see how happy they are in here. Like, they're all standing chewing their cud. Lots of light.
It's a great environment.
One thing is these fellows in Thamesville, they don't mess around. Like this I-beam or H-beam, it's big, it's strong, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's a Mennonite-owned company, and started by John Weaver years ago, and it's about 20 years old actually, and they don't pull back on the amount of steel. We have our own engineers, and every building is well put together. If you look for it online, it's under WeCover.net, and you'll see some great videos on there, and a lot of great examples of nice projects around North America.
Well, I've had it 2 or 3 years. I think it's coming on 3. I'm well satisfied with it. It sure does the purpose. I'm glad I went as wide as I did. That was, at the time, I thought 70, what is it, 76, 78? 76 feet was wide, but man, I wouldn't want it any narrower.
We have some buildings as wide as 160 feet wide clear span, and in the snow load, that's quite a challenge. We can go wider in Florida or somewhere like that, but in Ontario, to have 160 clear spans, quite a...
It'd have to have quite a pitch.
It actually has 612 on it, the one I'm thinking, and it's almost 60 feet to the peak inside, and it has a seed processing plant inside.
Oh yeah, that would work. And another thing, this is I think there's a 4-foot concrete wall, and it is rebar in there to die for. I'm telling you, there is more rebar. My cement man, he couldn't get over the amount of rebar we put in there.
That's a fairly common point. Part of it is because of the outpush from, it's like skiing and trying to keep your legs together. This barn has a bit of outpush, not like a 612 160, but definitely it takes a bit of rebar to hold it.
Well, that's good, and I'm gonna get out, Brian, and get a picture of a little video of the shed at your place.
Okay, good.
And that'll show you what it's like to have it's a completely enclosed machine shed.
That's right.
It's a little different than this with ends and everything. And we'll get out and do that.
Perfect, thanks a lot.
So Brian and I ended up coming out here to actually his farm, and we thought we would show you what it's like. It's now 5 o'clock in the evening. It's almost dark out, isn't it?
It is.
Brian, sorry. And go ahead and tell us what you got here, Brian.
Well, this drive shed's 50 by 80 and a vaulted ceiling in it. That's a 16-foot high, 30 wide door in the end, and a 14 by 30 in the side. So we had to put a header in there to pick up a truss, so that makes a 30-foot opening. Really nice. I mean, it's on the small side, but it's the room I had, and probably more money than I had too. So, but you can see combination of wood framing, steel cladding. Up at the ceiling, there's a rubber strip that seals off for the birds and yet lets the fabric flex. This one's all galvanized. It wouldn't have to be. We've been busy doing farm shops that would be fully insulated with steel roofs and blown-in insulation, but this is a great machinery storage building. You could work on anything any day because there's so much light in here.
Even if it's cold out, you're out of the wind. That's 99% of it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, this really, like you say, wouldn't have to be galvanized, would it?
No. Woody Van Arkel has one just about like it, and it's a painted frame, and it's a 2-part epoxy gray paint that we use, so it would look almost like galvanized. Podolinsky's big building is painted as well, the combine barn. So
it's never going to rust in here anyways.
No, it's a dry barn.
It's not like the cattle barn.
Yeah, or we've had some interest in pig barns out of these for organic pigs. So that would make it a decent pig barn if you had enough straw.
You'd have to have a lot of straw.
Right.
Well, that's good, Brian. I just wanted to drop in and just show you the different things you can do with these buildings. And the other option you have is steel roof.
Steel roof or completely steel purlins, just an all steel barn. You get into commercial, often you get into where you have to have all steel.
Great. Well, thanks. Machinery's nice and dry in here. Well, that's about going to do it for the WeCover and cattle video for today. And I think I'll come back on another day, hopefully when it's not as windy, and I'll go over the feed program that we have and what we're doing to feed these cattle. And so if you like this video, give us a like. If you haven't subscribed, now would be the time. And like I said earlier in the video, check us out on the weekends. We'll probably have a new video up every weekend. Talk to you later.